Hello and welcome. What does it take to become President of the United States? Well, money for one thing, as this is proving to be one of the most expensive races for the White House. Determination. It's still 18 months until the actual election, but the race has been heating up since late 2006. And what about policies, an agenda the public might support? That's an issue many of the candidates are trying to sort out as the battle for votes begins. Right now, there are 17 declared candidates from the two main parties, the Democrats and Republicans, and more are likely to throw their name into the mix as the date draws closer. Last week, as the Democrat candidates lined up to prove their worth, they traded barbs in the first of many televised debates that will be held in the run-up to the elections. The Republicans' first debate is set for today, Thursday. Some of the names running a particularly high profile, both nationally and internationally, while others are looking to make a stronger mark. Ohio State Representative Dennis Kucinich, running on a Democrat ticket, is one of those. What's distinguished him is his straight-talking approach to the policies he supports, such as pulling U.S. troops out of Iraq, universal health care for all Americans, and guaranteed education with free college for those who want it. Last month, he began impeachment proceedings against Vice President Dick Cheney. Though many outside the USA might not see these as particularly radical ideas, within the USA, he's often considered a maverick. Well, you can talk with him on this show. You can call in directly to the program or send us an email or mobile text message, and the contact details are shown on the bottom of the screen. Well, Dennis Kucinich joins me now from the United States Congress here in Washington, D.C. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, sir, I have to start by asking, irrespective of worthiness, how realistic is it to believe that you could become the next president of the USA?
Oh, there's an excellent chance I'll be elected the next president, because I think the American people are seeing the insufficiency of our policies with respect to Iraq, and they're seeing that I've been the one who's consistently said, not only don't go there, but we should stop funding the war, we should have a plan to get out. I've developed such a plan. I think that what I'm offering is so different, because I'm saying that I see the world as one. I view the world as being interconnected and interdependent. Therefore, I reject war as an instrument of policy, and I reject strategies of unilateralism, preemption, first strike. And so I've separated myself from the rest of the field with the philosophy that I would bring to the Oval Office, and with a clear record of having opposed the war that has been so costly to not just the United States, but the people of Iraq and the world.
Well, sir, you know, ratings, obviously, they can change, but the ratings in the polls for you right now are very low, and I wonder to what extent you find that discouraging. I mean, what keeps you motivated?
The truth. I mean, the truth has a rating all of its own, and it resonates in people's hearts in a way that polls can never do. And people know that what I'm speaking of is a chance to create a new America, one that works with the nations of the world, one that would never wage aggressive war against any nation. Power, then we must show the way in getting rid of all nuclear weapons, and so I intend to lead the way towards nuclear abolition. When America leads the way, then we can ask the rest of the world to cooperate.
Well, so we have a lot of viewer interactivity on the show, and one of the questions that came by email from Bangalore in India, Shaista Salam says, I see no chance for Kucinich winning the US election. His ideas, however, are great for the American taxpayer. I would love to see an American president who has a balanced and honest Middle East policy. Now, of course, one thing that I guess as we take that comment into account is that it takes a lot of money to become US president, and I wonder how your fundraising is going.
Well, you know, our website is kucinich.us, and we've been raising funds through that website. And after the last debate, the response was so powerful that I received additional help from all around the country. And I think that people see in my campaign a chance to take a new direction, to create an America that will be loved around the world, because it will be an America that does not misuse its power. People love America, but they're concerned about our government right now. I'm talking about a government that will work with the nations of the world, not only to get rid of nuclear weapons, but also to get rid of biological weapons, chemical weapons. The U.S. should sign the Landmine Treaty. We should belong to the International Criminal Court. I want to see America rejoin the world. And so because of that, people are listening very carefully to my campaign, because they understand when we start to change our direction in the world, we'll start to have money for things here at home, such as healthcare, education, job creation, and housing.
Now, there's an email in support of you here from Texas in the U.S., and Wanda Abu Nasser says, although I truly think that it's a long shot at best for a politician with views such as Congressman Dennis Kucinich to succeed in his bid for president, I do believe that his views truly are shared by many ordinary Americans such as myself. I really think that our country is in a mess and needs a bit of spring cleaning in order to put us back in order. But I wonder, sir, can you translate this kind of sentiment into enough votes to make a difference?
Oh, I think I can. I think in the early primaries and caucuses, people will see that I'm the only one who's really offering a clear alternative. I mean, you have Senator Clinton, Obama, and Edwards, for example, who are saying of Iran, all options are on the table, meaning nuclear weapons, meaning a military attack. I say that I reject that type of thinking. I say that we have to find a way to open up diplomatic relations with Iran and with Syria, that we have to find a way to get Iran and Syria's help to create a solution in Iraq. I want to reach in and have international peacekeepers come in. But we can't do that until the U.S. ends the occupation of Iraq. We must end the occupation, close our bases, bring our troops home, take a new direction. So this is the kind of thinking that I bring to the race, and because of that, people will see that I'm so clearly in a position to help America reclaim its moral position in the world and reclaim the love of our people.
Well, Congressman, we have on the line Daniel from Portland, Oregon, with a question for you. Daniel, go ahead.
Hello. I am an immigrant to this country. I've been here 15. I'm from Eastern Europe, from Romania, and I want to ask you a question. All your proposals sounds like a communist thing, social, medical, all those things you're saying about it. I want to show you what's in the bottom of the things in what happened in Cuba, what family did to come in this country. We risk our life to come here to have a better. I just came from Europe. So
Daniel, you think that the congressman's ideas are too communist? Is that what you're saying?
Because I just came from Europe, and it's no the medical what we have here, the coverage you have, is nobody with not coverage, medical coverage. And you go in all those, even Canada or Romania.
Okay,
or every
Daniel, let's let Congressman Kucinich answer this then. I mean, the view here from Daniel is that perhaps these are too communist. There's this a little idealistic and communistic in its view.
Well, first of all, I'm a Democrat, not a communist. And secondly, every industrialized nation in the world has health care for its people. And in the United States, we have 46 million people who don't have any insurance at all, another 50 million who are underinsured. We have people who are losing their homes and losing their life savings because they can't afford their doctor bills. So what I've proposed is taking our Medicare program, which already serves people over 64, and expanding it to the whole country so that every American will be able to have fully paid dental care, vision care, prescription drugs, long-term care, mental health care. I mean, health care is a right in a democratic society, and I believe government has a moral responsibility to provide for the health of its people. So, you know, to me, this isn't even a close question. And we have Social Security. We accept the fact that government has a role in people's lives. The government takes care of the roads. Government is supposed to make sure we have clean water and clean air. Government is involved in education, and it ought to be involved in health care, if only by having a not-for-profit system where the government issues the payments. And that's what I'm advocating. Right. I'm not advocating government take over all the hospitals, just that government basically sends the checks.
Well, sir, considering the systems that are in place, apart from the health care, your other platform issues include repeal of the Patriot Act. I'm sure you'll have a fair amount of support for that. But, you know, a Department of Peace, even if not communistic sounding, could sound very idealistic to a lot of people.
Well, how do we run the affairs of nations and the world, if not by our ideals? I think people everywhere are looking for leaders who are guided not by fear, but by a vision of the world that can be. Such a leader was Gandhi. Such a leader was Dr. Martin Luther King. And so what I've done is to craft legislation that responds to the principles of Gandhi, Dr. King, and Christ in creating a cabinet-level position of a Department of Peace and Nonviolence, where in our own American society, we would work to address the issues of violence which are plaguing so many homes, such as domestic violence, spousal abuse, child abuse, gang violence, violence in the schools, racial violence, gun violence, and to come up with programs that help teach our children principles of peace and that help support groups that are trying to make this a less violent society. This is exactly the kind of proposal that could help America make a transition away from a nation that is currently gripped by fear to a nation that reaches its highest potential by challenging our people to remember the essential courage that it took to found our country. That is part of our inheritance as Americans. And I want to call that forth from the American people again so that we can fearlessly work together with people all around the world in the cause of peace.
Well, sir, you know, for example, some of the big business interests or the lobbyists can have a big influence on what the government does. And there's an email that came in from Oregon, Doug Shipley, who asks or says, the candidates these days are always going to be from big money interests who won't change things too much. Tell us honestly why you can't be elected under our current system.
Well, I can be elected because I'm the one who's in a position, because of my independence, to be able to challenge the grip which the oil companies have over our politics. You know, Congress has been talking about legislation, trying to pass it, that would give the oil companies in the United States essential control of the oil wealth of Iraq. The people in Iraq and the parliament are starting to object to giving up their rights. But the United States has had its designs, our government has had its designs on the oil of Iraq for some time. And I'm saying America's policies change with my election because I'm not held captive by the oil interest. And we will make sure the people of Iraq can make their own decisions about their natural resources. Similarly, we're not going to be having wars because I reject this idea that war is inevitable. We have to use our capacity to work with people around the world to achieve security. And so we're not going to have to spend as much money as past administrations have on big military buildups. That's what's going on now. We won't have the kind of corrupt contracting operations that Halliburton has going on in Iraq because under my plan, not only did the American government get out of trying to control Iraq's oil, directly or indirectly, but also all those contractors have to go home. I want to see reconciliation between the Shiites, the Sunnis, and the Kurds, and we can't do that trying to control Iraq's oil or trying to get those contractors to have a chance to make billions of dollars. I'm talking about an America that is not going to be controlled by interest groups, one that will truly be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Well, let me ask you about one thing that certainly made the headlines for you, and that was your move to impeach Vice President Dick Cheney. We had an email that came from Davy Mitchell in Glashütten in Germany, and Davy says, how did you manage to choose between Bush and Cheney? Impeach both of them. The Department of Justice has some experience with mass firings. You're leading the democratization of the U.S. I wish you strength. So, I mean, actually, I have to ask you about that. I mean, the sort of realistic chance of taking this to the end.
I think, first of all, this is about our U.S. Constitution and the responsibility of high public officials to obey the law and not to take this country, as Mr. Cheney did, into a war against Iraq based on lies. And so I'm challenging his conduct. And it's only, you know, and that's the role of the Congress. And the impeachment process is part of our Constitution as well. No public official is above the law. And no public official is beyond challenge. And our Constitution is being threatened by the illegal actions of an administration which attacked a nation that did not attack us, been responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians in Iraq and the deaths of our soldiers for a cause that was not right. And so I'm saying that Mr. Cheney must be accountable. And the reason why I picked him first is very simple. Because if you were to start with the president and impeach the president, Mr. Cheney would then become president.
Okay, we have, I mean, some, you know, reports where obviously some of your analysts, some of the political analysts, some of the critics perhaps, say that the media doesn't take you too seriously, Congressman. So I wonder how important you feel it is to win over the media if they're not, giving you the...
you know, first of all, I think that's changing with the last debate. But I also want to say that you have to remember that you're looking at the person who led the effort in the House of Representatives in 2002 and 2003, saying that there was no proof that Iraq had anything to do with 9/11 or with al-Qaeda's role in 9/11. I mean, I basically demolished the case that the Bush administration was making for weapons of mass destruction. And so Senator Clinton and Senator Edwards both voted for the war. I would ask you, and I would ask the media, how could they be taken seriously when they took our country into a disastrous war with their votes? And I led the effort against it, and I was proven right, and they were proven miserably wrong. And so I'm talking about taking America in a new direction. I was smeared for standing up to that war. My patriotism was challenged. It was said that I didn't know what I was talking about. Well, you know what? I was right, and they were wrong. And it's not a matter of my gloating over the fact that I knew what I was talking about, but here's the real issue. Who's more qualified to lead the United States? Someone who had the ability, the wisdom, the vision, and the courage to challenge an unnecessary war? Or somebody who was pushed by perhaps public opinion or a lack of insight and foresight into supporting a war that has been a disaster for the people of Iraq, the United States, and the world?
Well, so we'll squeeze in, with about a minute to go, we'll squeeze in Mohammed from Saudi Arabia, who's on the line. Mohammed, what would you like to ask Congressman Kucinich?
Yes, I'd like to say that Senator Kucinich appears to be a man of vision. He seems to be a leader way ahead of his times, and I really wish him the best of luck, because if America has a leader like Kucinich, I think we will see a brand new world, and I'm so happy.
Inshallah, and shukran.
Well, Congressman, just a final thought with literally about 20 seconds. I mean, if nothing else, you have helped to shape some of the policies. People say if you're not directly in line to actually get the seat, you can. Is that satisfying enough?
I'm going to help reshape America's role in the world by being elected the next president. That will be enough.
All right. Well, Congressman Dennis Kucinich, I thank you very much for joining us, sir. And we'll speak to you again soon, I hope. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, that was U.S. presidential candidate for 2008, Dennis Kucinich, the Congressman Democrat from Ohio. Well, thank you for being with us. I'll be away next week, but my friend and colleague Anu Naidu is filling in for me, so please do join him. And don't forget, if you have any thoughts or pressing issues you want debated from around the world, send your emails to riz@aljazeera.net. We'll see you next time. Don't forget, Street Talk is coming up next.